Hi everyone, welcome back to our channel. I'm Jennifer, and as always, I'm joined by my amazing co-host, Elizabeth. How are you doing today, Elizabeth?
Hi, Jennifer. I'm doing great, thank you. I'm really excited about today's topic because it's something that's crucial for anyone who interacts with people from different cultural backgrounds, navigating cross-cultural communication.
Absolutely. Understanding cultural differences is key to effective communication, especially in today's globalized world. Whether you're working with international colleagues, traveling, or just making new friends, being aware of these differences can help you avoid misunderstandings and build stronger connections.
Yes, and today we're going to dive deep into this topic. We'll talk about how cultural differences can impact communication, share some common misunderstandings, and give you practical tips for navigating these situations.
But before we get started, if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. And if you find this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Your support really helps us keep creating valuable content for you.
So, Jennifer, let's start by talking about what we mean when we say cultural differences. Culture shapes how we communicate, our language, gestures, tone, and even our silence.
That's right. One key concept to understand is the difference between high context and low context cultures. In high context cultures, such as Japan or many Middle Eastern countries, communication is often indirect and much of the meaning is derived from the context, relationships, and nonverbal cues. On the other hand, low-context cultures, like the United States or Germany, tend to communicate more directly, with the message being clear and explicit.
Exactly. In high-context cultures, people might rely on shared understanding and subtle hints, which can sometimes be confusing for those from low-context cultures who are used to direct communication. For example, in a high-context culture, a simple maybe might actually mean no depending on the situation.
Yes, and that's where misunderstandings can easily occur. If you're not aware of these differences, you might misinterpret someone's intentions or feelings. For example, in some cultures, maintaining direct eye contact is a sign of confidence, while in others, it can be seen as disrespectful or confrontational.
That's a great point, Jennifer. Body language and gestures also play a big role in communication, and they can vary significantly between cultures. A thumbs up might be a positive gesture in one culture but could be considered offensive in another.
Exactly. It's important to be mindful of these differences and to approach cross-cultural interactions with an open mind. Instead of making assumptions, it's always better to ask questions or observe how others are communicating.
Speaking of cultural differences, we actually have a caller who wants to share some insights about the cultural differences in their country. Let's take the call.
Hi there, you're on the air with Jennifer and Elizabeth. What's your name, and where are you calling from?
Hi, Jennifer. Hi, Elizabeth. My name is Luca, and I'm calling from Milan, Italy. I've been watching your channel for a while, and I love your content. I wanted to share some cultural differences that I've noticed, especially when communicating with people from different countries.
Hi, Luca. Thanks for calling in. We'd love to hear about the cultural differences you've observed in Italy. What's something you've noticed that might surprise people from other cultures?
Well, one thing that stands out is how we express ourselves in social settings. In Italy, we tend to be very expressive, using our hands, speaking with a lot of emotion, and sometimes even raising our voices. This isn't because we're angry or upset. It's just part of how we communicate passionately. But I've noticed that people from more reserved cultures, like some Northern European countries, can sometimes find this overwhelming or even intimidating.
That's really interesting, Luca. So, what advice would you give to someone who's not used to that style of communication?
I would say, don't be afraid to join in. Italians appreciate when people engage with them in conversation. But also, be aware that if someone is raising their voice or gesturing a lot, it doesn't mean they're angry. It's just how we communicate. And if you're from a more reserved culture, it's okay to set your own boundaries politely. Italians are generally very friendly and open, so as long as you're respectful, they'll understand.
That's great advice, Luca. It's all about understanding and adapting to different communication styles. Have you experienced any challenges when communicating with people from other cultures?
Yes, definitely. For example, when I was working with colleagues from the United States, I noticed that they were much more direct in their communication. At first, I found it a bit abrupt, but I realized that it wasn't meant to be rude. It's just a different way of getting to the point quickly. Over time, I learned to appreciate that directness and adapt my own style when working with them.
It sounds like you've done a great job of adapting to different cultural communication styles, Luca. Thank you so much for sharing your experiences with us. It's really valuable for our listeners to hear these real-life examples.
Thank you, Jennifer and Elizabeth. I'm glad I could contribute. Keep up the great work with your channel.
Thanks, Luca. We appreciate you calling in. Take care.
Bye, Luca. That was a really insightful call from Luca. It's a great reminder that communication styles can vary widely from culture to culture, and being aware of these differences can help us navigate conversations more effectively.
Absolutely. And what Luca mentioned about Italians being expressive is a perfect example of how cultural norms can influence communication. In some cultures, being loud and expressive is seen as enthusiastic, while in others, it might be perceived as too intense.
That's right. And this brings us to another important point. When communicating across cultures, it's important to be adaptable. You might need to adjust your tone, choice of words, or even your body language depending on who you're speaking with.
Yes, flexibility is key. It's also helpful to be aware of potential cultural taboos or sensitive topics. For example, in some cultures, it's common to ask about someone's family as a way of showing interest and care, while in others, personal questions might be considered intrusive.
Exactly. And if you're unsure about something, it's always okay to ask politely. Most people will appreciate your effort to understand their culture better.
Another strategy for effective cross-cultural communication is active listening. This means paying close attention not just to the words being said, but also to the tone, context, and nonverbal cues. It shows respect and helps ensure that you're interpreting the message correctly.
That's a great point, Elizabeth. Active listening can help you pick up on subtle differences in communication styles and prevent misunderstandings. It also shows the other person that you value what they're saying.
And don't forget about the importance of asking clarifying questions. If something isn't clear, it's better to ask than to make assumptions. This can prevent a lot of potential misunderstandings.
Definitely. And building rapport is another key element. Taking the time to get to know someone's background, culture, and communication preferences can go a long way in establishing a strong and positive relationship.
Yes, and this can be as simple as showing genuine interest in their culture or asking about their experiences. It's all about creating a sense of mutual respect and understanding.
So, to summarize, navigating cross-cultural communication requires an open mind, adaptability, and a willingness to learn from others. Be aware of cultural differences in communication styles, be flexible in your approach, and don't be afraid to ask questions when you're unsure.
And remember, communication is about more than just words. It's about understanding the context, tone, and body language as well. By being mindful of these factors, you can improve your cross-cultural communication skills and build stronger relationships with people from different backgrounds.
Thank you all for joining us today. If you found this conversation helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We have plenty more content coming your way to help you navigate the complexities of English communication.
We'll see you in the next video. Take care and happy learning.
Bye for now.